The ugly shirt is back, or the loud shirt, or the winning shirt, whatever you want to call it. It is back because the Cardinals group of younger guys spoils the Shohei Ohtani show in LA.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Hafford, and I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. Follow me on X at JD Sports Radio, the podcast, at LO_Cardinals. We're on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Locked On Cardinals, a show for Cardinal Nation, who is celebrating today because of a victory that they had in Los Angeles, giving you all the info about the birds on the bat each and every day. I'm excited. I'm happy. It's nice to finally win one. How about them Redbirds? The same team that, yes, lost 2 of 3 to the Colorado Rockies, a team that is on pace for the worst record in the history of the sport, just defeated the defending champion Los Angeles Dodgers in a 3-game series for the second time this season. 5-3 victory, filled with a lot of really good moments. Some moments as well. Nobody's perfect, but some really good moments. And the first thing I want to talk about, I'm excited for the win. I'm very happy. I'm happy to have the ugly shirt, the loud shirt back on. It's been a while. It's been hanging in the closet over there for quite some time. It's been a bit since the Cardinals were able to win one. So glad to have it back on. Anyway, I want to point out first how well the team responded after getting their butt spanked by LA the night before. Tuesday night was not a lot of fun. And maybe it's easier for these guys to move on from games like that. They've had plenty of practice this season, moving on from blowout losses. But to take the field on a Wednesday, a day game, after getting beat up like they did the night before, to have to face the best player on the planet, Shohei Ohtani, and his wizardry on the mound and at the plate, on a day they were giving out the replica Shohei Ohtani World Series rings, and somehow overcoming that and coming away with a victory to take the series, it should be applauded. It should. I don't think it would have surprised any of us if the Dodgers had come out and boat raced our Cardinals in Game 3. And I'm not saying it because the team like they don't have a fighting spirit or they roll over for anyone, because I don't think that at all. I think the team and Ollie and the coaching staff, they come prepared each and every day with every intention of competing at a high level. Some days you just don't have it. But I think it should be acknowledged that coming back and having to deal with Ohtani and somehow get a victory in this one, not an easy thing to do. So good job. Second thing, Shohei Ohtani is awesome. That dude is really, really good. I mean, you talk about a guy who seems like he can do pretty much anything he wants on a baseball field. I mean, my goodness, you watch his stuff on the mound and how easy he makes it all look. Just a really special talent. But it's also proof that baseball is as much of a team sport as any sport. Because even on a day where Ohtani comes out, throws 4 innings, strikes out 8, picks up his 1,000th hit on a very impressive. What was the final? Was it 421 feet? I also saw where it was 440 feet. Either way, hit the snot out of the ball for the 2-run home run, and it was his 1,000th hit. I still don't understand how the Angels let that dude get away and got nothing for him. That's incredible to me that actually happened. There is another fly in here today. I don't know where they're coming from. Anyway, I still don't understand how the Angels let that happen. In my lifetime, the only thing I can compare to seeing Ohtani as far as the Cardinals go is like watching prime Albert Pujols or Mark McGwire when he was in his prime with the Cardinals and, was smacking 65 and 70 home runs where every plate appearance was must-see TV. Watching Shohei is a lot of fun to watch. He really is. And he was putting it on the Cardinals in this one. He did everything he could to get the Dodgers the victory. But yet, the Cardinals persevered. They did not fall. under the Shohei Ohtani sword. They end up coming back and winning this thing. The third thing was I was impressed with the way the Cardinals didn't let the game get out of hand, which it looked like it was going to happen on multiple occasions. It was teetering there for a bit. You know, you're playing a team that is superior in talent, which the Dodgers are. Let's not kid ourselves. Your margin for error is very, very thin. It is very thin. Do you see these things? I can't. I'm gonna smack one of them. I hit one with my my glove before we started, and I thought I got all of it, but apparently there's more in here. So I apologize if you're watching on YouTube and you see me swatting at things like it looks like I'm on crack or something. I'm not. I just got like little gnats that somehow maybe when we let the dog out, I don't know. Either way, moving on. But you got a team that's superior in talent, and your margin for error is very, very thin. You know, Friday you had the excellent pitching from Sonny Gray. Bullpen was good. You only had 2 walks, so you didn't hurt yourself. Gave up just the 1 home run, just a solid all-around effort, and it ended with a W. Tuesday night, all sorts of mistakes happened from the pitching staff, really, who missed their spots over the plate again and again and again, and the Dodgers punished them again and again and again. But in Wednesday's game, you know, you had the error on Alec Burleson there in the first inning, but, you know, Libby gets out of it. Third inning, you had the leadoff double. Ohtani's home run. Another double by Mookie Betts. You're like, oh, gosh, here we go. The short hop single, the ate up Mason Wynn at shortstop off of Freddie Freeman's bat. And you're like, here it is. This is where it happens. The blowout begins. Libby escapes. He gets out of it. All right. Fourth inning, the leadoff man gets on again. Wild pitch, moves him over to second base. Then they steal third, and the throwing attempt hits the bat of the batter in the batter's box. Totally illegal. Guy doesn't have to move. Pages just, it happens. Doesn't happen a lot, but they give an error to Pages on the play, which that's a really tough error, man. But normally, because the run scores there, normally a major collapse happens after that. That's what I was waiting for, and I'm sure you were too. But they minimized the damage, 3-1. You're still in striking distance. And after that, this bullpen was awesome. They were so good. You know, Libby walks Ohtani to lead off the fifth. The Dodgers got the leadoff guy on base in all 5 innings against Libby, which is not what you want. That is not the blueprint that you're looking for. So to only give up 3 runs and having all of that happen, it's kind of a miracle. It's kind of a miracle. It's not a way that I would suggest to go about doing things if you're trying to win baseball games, but they did it. Not how you write it up, but it worked. Leahy comes in and puts out the flames. He was awesome. Gives you 2 2/3 of shutout baseball with 4 strikeouts. He was very impressive. I know we had early season Leahy who was really, really good. And then he went through like a bit of a funk and was kind of not good for a while there. Very impressive in this series. Jojo Romero continues his run of excellence coming in. He ends up whiffing Ohtani to end the threat in the 7th inning. Riley O'Brien takes care of business after that. Heck of a Houdini act by the staff in many, many innings there. But it allowed the offense enough time to finally get something done. And it helped that, you know, Ohtani was only going to throw 4 innings because he probably could have stayed in there. And God knows if they ever would have scored anything against him. I don't know. But he was awesome. But the Cardinals found a way. Libby wasn't great, but outside of the 2-run home run to Ohtani, kind of hard to complain about his start. He didn't get the strikeouts and stuff he needed. He was under a lot of pressure, a lot of stressful innings there, but he wiggled out of things. You would have loved to see him pitch deeper into the game, but, you know, Ollie was aggressive with the bullpen, and it proved to be the right call. He went to Leahy and was like, look, Libby's on the ropes here. We need you. And he gets out of it. And the other thing they're watching with Libby is obviously innings. The innings at this point of the year hasn't been a starter through a full major league season ever. So you're not trying to run him into the ground at the same time. So you're trying to be a little careful with that. I can appreciate that. But it all worked. It all worked. But, of course, you got to score runs if you're going to win baseball games. And the Cardinals were able to find some ways to get runs across, and it's the type of baseball that I love. We're going to jump over to the offensive side of things in this one next and talk about the amazing Mason Wynn and Joel Pozo at bats, because those were huge in getting the Cardinals to a spot where they could take the lead. We'll talk about that and more coming up next on Locked On Cardinals. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the daily fantasy platform that lets you turn your football predictions into real rewards. Now, preseason is heating up. We've got games tonight, which I'm excited about. College football not far behind. It is the perfect time to lock in your season-long, more or less picks for the 2025 football season, all before Week 1 kicks off. So when I say season-long, I'm talking about, how many touchdown passes is, my guy Jordan Love going to throw this year? How many rushing yards is somebody like, let's go with, I'm having a brain fart of somebody to pick outside. Let's go with, what about Saquon Barkley for the Eagles? Like, you pick how many yards more or less they're going to have over the season, and that's how you can pick those. Whether you got your eye on big name quarterbacks, breakout running backs, PrizePicks makes it easy to get in on the game. You got the 3 preseason games tonight, which you can use PrizePicks for in the NFL. So rushing yards for rookie Ashton Genty, that's at 21.5. Passing yards for Joe Burrow tonight, 63.5. You could even do point after attempts for Eagles kicker Jake Elliott, which is at 1.5. Pick more or less on these things, and that's it. It's very, very simple. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use code LOCKEDONMLB. You're going to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. Yes, you can do it in the preseason. PrizePicks, run your game. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. Leave your comments on YouTube as well as on X anytime you want. Of course, TikTok as well. Got a nice little following growing there on TikTok too, so I appreciate all of you. The feedback always welcome and encouraged, good or bad. We're gonna need to do some Cardinal confessionals on Friday, aren't we? Just to see what everybody's saying about what the Cardinals did in Los Angeles after having a stinky poo-poo session against the Padres, and then to see them do so much better in Los Angeles, it makes me happy. Tear to my eye. Anyway, Cardinals offense was not the problem in this series, right? Tough pitching matchup on Monday against Tyler Glasnow, but they end up winning the game 3-2. Tuesday, they score 6 overall, but it's not much of a game ever because the Dodgers pounded the pitching staff, who was horrendous. For the most part, not everybody, but for the most part. Then on Wednesday, the Cardinals, clearly overmatched by Shohei Ohtani, which is not something to be embarrassed about. This dude is disgusting. He's the best player on the planet. But for the pitching staff to hold the Dodgers at bay, to keep them in striking distance, and for the Cardinals to battle the way they did against that LA bullpen after Ohtani was out, that was freaking awesome to watch. And let's start with the first thing. When they got the run off Ohtani in that, what was it, third inning, second inning? What inning was that? I got to double check this. Hold on. Because now but it was the bunt single, third inning. Was the RBI bunt single by Brendan Donovan. Like, who doesn't love seeing the offense take advantage of the shortcomings of the defense they're playing or taking advantage of the defensive setup that the other team might have? How many times have we as Cardinal fans begged for these guys to start bunting, especially when the shift was the way it used to be? It's still bad from time to time, but not quite as extreme as it used to be. But where we're like, just bunt it. Just try. Just give it a chance. Just put the thought that you might do it in the head of your opponent. And let's see what the adjustments are that they have to make. Are they going to start cheating in more? Does that allow more hard hit balls to get past them against the corner infielders? Can the other team even handle bunts well? Are they even good at fielding the bunts? Not everybody's got Nolan Arenado down there at third base to scoop it up barehanded and make, throw right on the chest of the first baseman every time. Try it. Let's see what can happen. It's another way to put pressure on a team when you are not a squad that hits a lot of home runs, which the Cardinals are not. They don't do it a lot. But that doesn't mean you can't win baseball games by doing it in scoring runs in other ways. Everyone is so obsessed with power, and it's great if you got it. It's fine. It's an expensive trait to go out and pay for, to go find those guys. But I also see plenty of teams like, I don't know, the league-leading Milwaukee Brewers, who win a ton of games and don't hit a lot of home runs. They rely on, and this is going to make me sound like an old man, and I just celebrated a birthday, which is why the balloons are in the background there, but it's going to make me sound like an old, but that's how they used to do it in the good old days. Pitching, defense, speed. Do smart things on offense that doesn't rely on the 3-run homer. Bunting, just putting the ball in play in situations, moving runners over, sacrificing, taking walks, stealing bases. Brewers steal a ton of bases. They create offense. The Brewers have only 3 more home runs than your St. Louis Cardinals. 3. They only have 18 more hits than the Cardinals, yet they got 61 more runs. Cardinals hit into a lot of double plays. The Brewers do not. That's a key thing. But they just play the game very, very smart. So to see the Cardinals kind of do a Milwaukee Brewers impersonation against the Dodgers, I loved it. I loved it. To see them score the way they did in the 3rd and then in the 6th inning again, it was awesome. In the 6th, they take advantage of a leadoff walk by Ivan Herrera. We've always been on the other side of things where we're like, oh, yeah, we walk the leadoff person. That person's going to score, aren't they? Well, Cardinals flip the script there. They get the walk. Burley singles off the lefty, which is cool. And then Newt puts the ball in play. Just a ground ball, but he gets the run in. Nothing special. Sounds so simple, right? It can be when you got the right personnel and you don't strike out. And they had a chance to do more, and that was kind of a theme in this game too, because there were plenty of chances for the Cardinals to do a lot more damage, and they didn't. But they had 1st and 3rd and 1 out in this situation, but Gorman strikes out instead of putting it in play. Walker grounds it back to the pitcher, very like a firecrackle that fizzles and just doesn't pop. But they do cut the lead to 3-2 in the situation, so they peck away. They at least get one. It's those kind of innings that when you don't get any, that you're just like, ugh, drives you insane, right? Then in the 8th inning, Burley leads off with another single against the new pitcher, Vesia. Newt flies out on the first pitch, which brings up Mason Wynn. And, Mason, we've said it before, has been so good since the All-Star break, and this at-bat was huge. It's 2 at-bats in a row that are huge here. Wynn sees 10 pitches, fouls off 6 of them before winning the battle and singling into left field. Outstanding at-bat that wears down Vesia, who only had to throw 3 pitches to the first 2 guys. Ollie turns to Joel Poza off the bench for Gorman. Gorman had struck out 3 times, did not look good at the plate. You got a weapon like Pozo off the bench who leads the league in pinch hit RBIs and is tied for the league lead in hits, I think, as a pinch hitter. Been awesome off the bench. Why not use him? And he had another strong at bat here. He sees 8 pitches before ripping one into center field that, even though he tagged it, unfortunately it gets caught. And even though he didn't get ahead, he did a job because he's got Vesia on fumes now. Vesia, 3 pitches to the first 2 guys, 18 to Mason Wynn and Joel Pozo. That brings in Jordan Walker. And yeah, we're not seeing the power from Jordan Walker yet, and maybe we never will. I'm not going to hold my breath. Jordan Walker is going to be a 30 home run guy. Maybe he ends up being like Jason Hayward, where he's a big dude, looks like he ought to be hitting 40 home runs a year, and just doesn't. But if he's hitting line drives and he cuts down on the strikeouts, you give me Jordan Walker hitting 290 with like 15 to 25 home runs and like 80 RBIs, I am going to be thrilled. I'm okay with that. I don't need him to hit 35 home runs all the time, but I need him to hit line drives like he did in this particular at bat. He comes through, line drive, base knock to left center, ties the game up, and then the Cardinals get aggressive with their base running, which is another thing that I love for them to do. I don't like seeing it on base hits to left field and a runner trying to score from second. We've seen that happen too many times with Pop Warner this year. I don't want to see that crap, but I do like aggressive base running. I like them trying to push the narrative and make the defense actually, defend their positions better. And that's what they did here. Jordan Walker gets the hit. He's got great speed, obviously. And they see the throw coming into third base. He doesn't stop at first. He rounds it and goes hard into second base. The throw goes to third base. Runner is safe there. And they try to get the runner at second. They try to get Walker, who's trying to stretch it into second base, get back into scoring position. And they take advantage of it. The third baseman, Freeland, spikes it, tried to make that throw, goes into right field, go ahead run, score. All of a sudden, you're looking up and it's like Cardinals are up 4-3. And it was contact skills, tough at bats, base hits instead of home runs, using the speed of Mason Wynn and Jordan Walker. That is fun baseball. That's good baseball. And you can sign me up for that all day, every day. I'm in. I'll take it. You don't want to pay for power hitters. Fine. But you got to find other ways to win. Find contact guys that can make life miserable for the opposing pitchers, like some of the other smaller market teams do. Instead of paying for power, they let those guys walk out the door. And then they find other guys who can do things very, very well. Instead of that one way of doing things, like that one trait of having power, they find guys who have speed, defense, contact instead of power. And they find ways to win that way. Then the Cardinals in the ninth inning do it again with productive at-bats. Donnie, leadoff single. Herrera gets hit by a pitch. Burley just misses one. Like, he was just a hair off of putting that one over the wall. Gets it to deep center. Donnie moves up on that fly ball. And then Newt smokes one off the center field fence for a double to make it 5-3. And again, they should have gotten more because they end up having to walk Mason Wynn, who they shouldn't have been messing with in the first place, to load the bases. Thomas Sajacy comes up. He strikes out very quickly. Walker flies out to center field. That threat's over. But they took advantage of the situation they were given. Leadoff guy gets on, take advantage of the hit by pitch, get another run in. And that put a big old smile on my face. It was so much fun to watch. JoJo gets his fourth win of the season. Riley O'Brien picks up his first major league save. Jordan Walker has 3 hits. I know one of them was a ball that got lost in the sun that the second baseman had to get out of the way of because he was like, but it's counting, right? Still counts as a hit. Line drive in the scorebook. Line drive in the box score. That's what we say for things like that. He gets 3 hits. Cardinals again, 4 for 18 with runners in scoring position. That has to improve. Like, you've got to do better than that. But to get the win, so I'm not going to bitch and moan too much. This was only the second series the Cardinals have won since sweeping the Guardians in late June. Been a while. Out of their last 10 series, the only one in which they won 2 out of the 3 games was against the Washington Nationals. So this was so much more like the team that we saw playing well in April and May. Doing a lot of the small things right. And I hope it sticks around because you got the Cubs coming in next. And the Cardinals have a chance to play spoiler, right? Cubs have dreams of competing for a world championship this year. They've had a really good season so far, but they're kind of cold at the moment. Maybe the Cardinals can pounce on that. So we're going to take a look around the division and talk about what's happening in the NL Central, because it's been an impressive division again this year, even though everybody said that it was going to be one of the worst. So we'll get into that and more coming up on Locked On Cardinals. We've all been there logging on early and waiting forever for concert tickets to go on sale, only to lose your spot for a show that you've been dying to see. Now, live music, it should be about making memories, not dealing with the stress of ticket shopping in the first place. And that's where Game Time comes in to ease the pain. Game Time makes getting concert tickets faster and easier than ever before. Prices drop when it gets closer to showtime. That is a fact. You can save money. You can save up to 60% off with their killer last-minute deals at Game Time. And if you're tired of endless scrolling trying to find the best deal, the zone deals on Game Time, they're going to give you the best seats in your section that you want to be in. And if you want to know what it looks like from that particular section, no problem. The app shows you a panoramic seat view, so there are no surprises. And with Game Time, the price you see is the price you pay. No hidden fees. Big fan of that. Take the guesswork out of buying concert and show tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Create an account. Use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB, LOCKEDONMLB, for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Thanks again for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. You can find it on Locked On MLB's YouTube channel or wherever you listen to your podcasts. All right, so the NL Central is once again becoming a force to be reckoned with here in 2025, even though everybody said going into the season, the Cubs didn't do enough to be considered somebody that we're going to think might win a World Series. The Milwaukee Brewers, they let Willy Adames go. They traded Devin Williams. They're clearly tanking. They're not doing anything. The Cardinals didn't sign anybody but Phil Maton. The Cincinnati Reds, what do we make of them? They brought in Terry Francona, but are they that good? Most people thought no, that this division was going to stink. No. Once again, it is one of the more competitive divisions in baseball, and you're going to have at least two teams from this division go to the playoffs again. The Brewers are running away with things at the moment. They're now 70-44 on the year, 23-7 in their last 30, 16-4 in their last 20, and 9-1 in their last 10. They're playing, you know what the Detroit Tigers were doing on the American League side? That's what the Brewers are doing on the National League side. Now, did they do enough at the trade deadline to push them into the areas of, say, teams like the Dodgers and the Mets and the Phillies and the Yankees? They're not going to get talked about like those guys. They're just not. But I think they're okay with that because they're beating everybody. I caught a lot of flack last season for saying too many good things about the Milwaukee Brewers last year. People were making fun of it, like, why are you on there, what, all the time? Why are you on them all the time? Because they do the things that I want the Cardinals to do. First off, winning baseball games is the most important thing, but their approach to the game offensively in particular is something I think the Cardinals should be striving for. When it comes to pitching, you either have the talent or you don't. And the Brewers have a much more talented group of pitchers, both starting and in relieving, than the Cardinals do. And it's going to take a while before they can build up a stable of pitchers like that. It's why having Matthew Liberatore make the strides he is this year and Andre Palante figuring it out and trying to be more consistent is very, very important. It's why Quinn Matthews and Michael McGreevy and Tekoa Roby and Tink Hicks and now, fifth overall pick Liam Doyle. It's why they're so important, because if you're ever going to compete with these types of teams, but you're not going to pay for the big market free agents, and the Cardinals have shown no interest in doing that, then you've got to beat them in a different way. And you're going to have to follow the blueprint of teams like the Brewers and the Detroit Tigers and the Tampa Bay Rays and, these smaller market teams. It's drafting, developing, but making smart free agent signings, finding the right leadership. That's what you got to do. And hopefully Chaim Bloom and company will be able to do that real soon. But they need to hit on these guys. They need to, trade guys to find younger arms that they can groom like they did at the trade deadline this year. I know we're disappointed because there was a lot of A-ball guys. I get it. But again, they're trying to find as many arms as they possibly can because it is so empty in the organization right now. Cardinals won't see the Brewers again until September. They'll play them 6 times. Cubs, though, they just got done losing 2 of 3 to the Reds at Wrigley. Reds won't go away. They made some solid deals at the deadline. They got pieces like Ke'Bryan Hayes, Miguel Andujar, Zach Littell. Not huge names, right? But they serve a purpose, and they became important pieces for that Cincinnati Reds team. Will it be enough to catch Chicago? That's debatable. But, if they get Hunter Green back, if Nick Lodolo can overcome the blister issues on his pitching hand. Andrew Abbott has been really good. Now you got Littell in the mix to go with Brady Singer and rookie Chase Burns. I mean, that rotation beats the snot out of what the Cardinals are throwing out there. Like, there's not, I mean, is there a pitcher on that roster that wouldn't be at least the number 2 on the Cardinals right now? No. They got rookie Chase Burns too. You know, they've done a good job of collecting guys. And Brady Singer and Zach Littell, these are not dudes that cost a whole bunch to get. But the Reds signed them, and the Cardinals didn't. The Cardinals are withering away with guys like Miles Michaelis right now. You know, they went down the Eric Fetty way, and it blew up in their face. So they just got to be better with their decision-making, and hopefully Heimblum is the guy that can do that. Cardinals are 5.5 back in the wild card, so they're trying to play spoiler. Not saying it's impossible to get back into this thing. Odds aren't great, though, right? Let's be honest with ourselves. And who better to play spoiler against than the Chicago Cubs? Like, why not? They're back in town this weekend. Last time they met at Busch, it was a series split, 2-2. Remember, the Cardinals won the first 2, and that's when they were like 2.5 back in the division. They were right there. They were ahead of the Brewers at that time. And then they got blanked in the next 2 games, and it set them on a downward spiral the rest of the way. And I hope it's different this time around. I want this to be fun, entertaining baseball. I hope that there's some decent crowds because, you know, all these other teams that I've been watching, you know, they got packed houses, and then you got the Cardinals who are like, 19th in ticket sales right now or attendance. And it's just so sad to see. And I'm not blaming you as a fan for not going. It's just, it's sad to see. You know, it sucks. McGreevy versus Boyd on Friday. It'll be a Palante against Colin Ray on Saturday. Then Sonny and Imanaga on Sunday Night Baseball. Can the Cardinals capitalize on the series win in LA and carry the momentum over into the weekend against Chicago? Another team that, you know, the Cardinals seem to play up to their opponents' levels. Here you go. This is another good team. Let's see what they got. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. If you haven't already, give us a follow on X at @LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio, TikTok and Instagram at Locked On Cardinals, of course, on YouTube as well. You guys are the best fans in baseball for a reason, and we will see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.